A book one all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. Well, she's a beauty founder. And of course, an author too on resilience and self care. No other than Miss Marlene Wallach. Welcome, Miss Marlene, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Oh, yes, certainly. Well, I want to thank you, Daniel, very much for the invite and just tell you a little bit about my most current book and how it got to be. Can I take a minute to explain that?
Yes, go ahead, go
Well,
ahead.
when I was at Wilhelmina, I wrote a lifestyle collection for my young models. One was my life, health and
Mm-hmm.
fitness. One was my style, fashion, et cetera, et cetera. And that was in 2009. And then someone that worked for me said, well, could you update those books? It's 20 years later, what would you say? And I said, okay, let me see what I can do. And that was how the Book of Uncommon Common Sense got to be. Because
Mm-hmm.
my view of the world, I started trying to fit myself into my old books, but that just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
What?
book of common sense is about taking the basics in self-worth, self-care, confidence, etc., and elevating them through your own experiences. So instead of looking in the mirror and saying, ooh, I have a pimple here, why don't you look and say, ooh, I've got such great eyes? Why
Mm-hmm.
can't you do that? Why can't you start to see the world a little bit differently?
Yes, definitely. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Marlene. Thank you. And today let's talk about your three books plus one, which is we will connect later. So the book Uncommon or Common Sense suggests we know that to what to do, but don't do it. Just
Correct.
what's the core psychological or habitual gap you identify between knowing self-care principles and living them?
Well, that's exactly what this is about. Knowing and doing can be miles apart.
Yes.
People continue to go to self-help, this, that, and the other thing. They read the books, that, but nothing changes because they don't take any steps forward. I was doing an interview the other day, and someone said to me, how do you go back to who you were after breast cancer? And I was like, it's not about going back. It's about pivoting to the new person that you've become.
Mm-hmm.
Going back is just not possible. So for me, that wasn't possible. But for other people who are thinking about their enlightenment, they're forgetting it's not about improving that. It's about getting to that.
Mm. Definitely. So, Miss Marlin, you frame self-care as an upgrade. What is the most common outdated version of a self-care that people need to replace, and what does a new upgraded operating system look like?
Well, they need to replace self-care by thinking it's just about having a spa day.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
True.
that. And part of it is with my beauty products, I have brushes. I mean, it's just a simple thing like that. I have
Mm-hmm.
brushes because
Okay.
I want people to have a self-care moment all the time. So if you use brushes, for your skincare, and you take an extra minute, just think you'll have self-care morning and night, as opposed to making an appointment to have self-care.
Mm-hmm. Self-care, people. Sometimes we neglected it. And in a In a world saturated with wellness advice, what is the single most overlooked or uncommon piece of common sense that forms the foundation of your book?
It's about being present in where you are, not where you're going and not where you've been. Because if you can do that, you have all the power within yourself to get where you
Mhm.
want to go.
Certainly. So let's talk about the official book of me. The official book of me is a powerful concept. How does one begin to write their own book? Is it a literal journaling practices or a mental framework or something else entirely?
For me, it was something else entirely. I'm very goal oriented. So and I've never told anyone this, but someone asked me if I thought I could rewrite the collection that I had written, 20 years ago, and that
Hmm.
was that was targeted toward the tween population. And what happened was I sat down to do that, and what came out was the book of Uncommon Common Sense, which is in reality a grown up version of these books. Um, and I felt so powerful writing it. And I felt that at the age of 71, I have earned the right to say these things and to say them loud and clear.
Definitely. And thank you for sharing to the world, Miss Marlene. Many people outsource their definition of health and happiness to social media, family, or culture. What is the first step in reclaiming authorship of your own book of me?
Just to be clear, you want to know if you wanted to write a book, how you would find it? Is that
Yes.
how
And
you
your definition of health
my
and
definition?
happiness.
Oh wow, we don't have time for that. Maybe I can help with what you'd write your book about. In terms of writing a book, I don't think you sit down to write a book. I think you have ideas and you want to express them.
Hmm.
So I don't think the idea of writing a book comes first. Um, when I did the series, I really, I just felt like these kids really needed a little. I'm a I'm a kind of a tough love person. And that's what my books are. They give them a direction and a warmth, but also like just get up and do it. I
Hmm.
didn't have a lot of patience for moaners, for people moaning. And when I think about what advice I would give someone to start to write their book, I would say, what would those people say about how to start writing a book? I would say, how would you start? Because that would give me a sense in a conversation with them about what direction I might push them toward, given where they are in their self awareness and in the process.
A book has a chapters, Ms. Marlene, themes, and arcs. How can applying a narrative structure to our own lives help us make a better sense of our past and direct our future with more intention?
What came up for me as you were saying that was a whiteboard. It was a whiteboard where you have all these different boxes, and in some of the boxes you write about the traumatic experiences you had. In some of them you write the loving experiences you had, and sometimes the loving experiences are also the traumatic experiences, and you draw lines and try to see what the resolution was, or if you had a fabulous gleeful moment, You put that in boxes, and you begin to see more objectively what has helped to shape who you are, and to organize it in a way that if you're writing a biography, you can use to tell it. At the same time, if you're just doing it for an analysis of thought, it can help you to shape your biography and the self-help that you can focus on as a result of your own story.
Let's talk about the synergy of inner and outer beauty, Miss Marlene. You continue lifestyle wellness with beauty. Why is it essential to address these together rather than treating skincare or makeup as a separate superficial category?
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story about someone who was using my skincare products, and they said to me, my husband never said a word about my skin in 10 years. And
Okay.
this morning, he said something to me, and it blew me away. That
Lovely, awesome.
that is a beauty, that makes this worthwhile to me. Or when someone says, I feel confident so that I can leave my house without makeup on.
Hmm.
I know it doesn't sound like much, but you have no idea what inside that feels like when you're unable to show your face, so to speak. Excuse me, I need a little sip.
No worries. Go ahead. So, what does it mean to have a beauty routine that is expression of self care rather than a chore or a must to meet external standards?
Right, that was what I was mentioning about using the brushes for skincare. It
Mm-hmm.
sounds like something very simple. And so many people have said to me, "Oh, they're so beautiful. I don't even, they are." Actually, I designed. She said they're so beautiful. I don't want to use them, and I said, "Well, I'm going to take them back if you don't start,
Mm-hmm.
because not everyone has all the time in the world. Um,
Yes.
there's I don't, some moms hardly have a chance to wash their face, but maybe it's just at night where you take an extra minute to soothe to soothe yourself, to soothe your skin, to know that you're caring for yourself. Because I think there are so many people who say, "Oh, I don't have a minute to do that." Well, the point is you have to make a minute to do that. No one has a minute to do that. I can keep myself busy with everything all day long and never get to anything for myself. And there may be a time in your life when
Mm.
that is absolutely what has to be. But I don't believe that. I believe that if you start doing it, easy, easy steps, maybe at first it's with the brushes, and then maybe it's stretching, and then so that it builds. You can't overwhelm yourself. And maybe you just start with um washing your face before you go to sleep. I mean, how many people don't do that? But it's a
Mm.
habit, like
Yes.
brushing your teeth. You have to start.
So, Ms. Marlene, can you share an example of how shift in an internal lifestyle of health, like sleep or stress management, created a more dramatic external beauty result on any tropical or topical product ever could?
Well, sleep is the answer. Sleep is the
Mm-hmm.
eternal answer to any problem. I remember reading a book that said that doctors in prisons typically just give the prisoners water and confined sleep to heal, because your body needs that. Literally, I think that's why they call it downtime, because you're down. And that way your body can regenerate, as opposed to you know, running on the the most shallow kind of sleep, which really doesn't provide any revitalizing. So
Mm.
I think if you can sleep, and I know you're going to say, well, I can't fall asleep. Well, you can fall asleep.
Mm.
Turn everything off or put in earplugs so you don't hear your kids, down the hall rocking and rolling or whatever they're doing down there. And just, count backwards from 100. I mean, that's the way to do it. And you will fall asleep. And don't let yourself, when you're at 20 and not asleep, get up. Just stay there. What are you're
Mm.
laughing then? You think that wouldn't work?
Yes, definitely it works. Miss Marlene, because in digital world people are always scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and they have no time to
Right,
sleep, which
right,
sad to say it will affect everything, their beauty, their skin, their health, and of course their brain as well.
right,
So when
right.
someone feels overwhelmed and thinks a total life overhaul is needed, what is the one tiny and commonly sensible habit you suggest they start with and create a ripple effect?
Well, the most common thing is to unplug.
Mm,
You know,
unplug, yes.
unplug. I stop watching, and I stop the news on the weekends. I stop the news. I stop the you know iPhone.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, I just pull back when I can. Here I am working,
Yes,
but I actually don't think of this as work. To me, this is spreading the word, and it's a charm to be here. But
yes.
I'm not going to be creating new plans for this, that, and the other thing on a day like on a Saturday. I will, however,
Mm,
it's of course if I have to, I do. But I really
yes,
try to draw the lines because if I don't, no one else will.
true. You need to have a boundaries, people, and set a goal in each day. Your book seems to advocate for holistic approach. How do you help someone connect the dots between, say, their financial stress, their sleep quality, or their skin health in a practically way?
Well, that's connecting everything, which is very difficult for people to do. Um, they think of everything as separate. Now, if you have financial concerns, that's a tough one. That's a hard one to sleep with unless you're taking action. For financial stresses, I believe you have to take action, and I don't mean by protesting. I mean by looking for a job and
Mm,
knowing that you are doing something puts you at a certain kind of peace, as opposed to sitting and worrying about it, which doesn't actually do anything for you.
So, Miss Marlene, what piece of a common wellness advice, like drink more water or get more sleep, that you refrain in a way that finally makes it stick for people?
I think before you can drink or sleep, you have to know who you are.
Oh,
It makes
yes.
everything else so much easier. And it makes you want to do the things that will ultimately make life more enlightened for you.
Mm,
I don't know
yes,
if that helps.
definitely.
I don't know if that
It
helps,
helps.
Daniel. Does it? For me to say that? Does it help?
Yes.
Well, then
Yes,
I
definitely. It helps. Know yourself first, people,
yeah.
so
You
that
have to
you know what
you
you're
have to work
doing.
on that, whether it's going to church or just going back to the board where you've drawn your life's events, or talking to a friend, or, just something. But you have to know yourself, and you can do these other things at the same time because it will all grow together for you. But it doesn't just come. You have to work at it. That's part of it. It's not like, oh, if you take it easy,
Mm,
it's all going to just flow your way. I mean, I'm 71 years old, and this knowledge has come with age. If you told me this when I was 31
True.
years old, I'd tell you were crazy. So part of it is listen to people who have some wisdom. And it's not a 28-year-old because they just haven't lived long enough to have those experiences, to be in a car accident, to be in a coma, to go to college when you have, when you can barely walk, to do these things, to have breast cancer, to recover from it. It all is, those are building blocks to who you become.
Miss Marlene, as an entrepreneur and author as well, a hot mama, what are your short term and long term goals?
To spread my to spread gleam throughout the world is what my goals are, both inside and
Mm.
outside, and just help people lighten and brighten their lives.
Well, good luck to your goals, Miss Marlene, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Want to be like me? Just live life, and when the door opens, walk through. That's what I've always.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Sh- Stop procrastinating. Walk through, people. Grab the opportunity because they said opportunity knocks only once.
There you
Mm.
go.
Yes, take it, take it, take it. Thank you for that advice, Miss Marlene. And can you please recommend a book or books that influenced your journey?
I think actually the Steve Jobs book was very interesting. A very
Mm,
interesting, very
yes,
interesting book.
by Walter Isaacson, right?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Mm, yes, highly
It's not,
recommended, people.
it's not
The
a
late
it's,
Steve, jo-
yeah,
the
it's
late
not a
Steve
typical,
Jobs.
right. It's not a typical self-help book, but it is interesting, and there is a lot to be learned.
Learn to pivot, to resilience, how to become successful entrepreneurs, faces problems in the midst of what? I created this business and yet they want me to remove as a CEO. How would you pivot for that? So, people, highly recommended The Late Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. So, thank you for that recommended book, Miss Marlene. So, if true self care make us more resilient and present, could this philosophy be a quiet antidote to some of the burnout and disconnection we see in society today?
Well, I would suggest you read the book. I can't give you all the quotes, but it's here and it's so simple. And I wrote it in big letters so you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about how much time it's going to take. You don't also have to sit down
Mhm.
and read it all at once. It's all here and it's so simple to read. You will find a motivator in this book. So um, please read it. And if you can't afford to buy one, just DM me on my Instagram, gleam_beauty, and I will send you one.
Yes, definitely. Miss Marlene will send you out, well, the book that you want to, well, read. Most especially the first one, the book of uncommon and common sense. Well, I'd like to read that, Miss Marlene. I want to have a common sense, but before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry and third season, and my book 101 review and sixth season as well, comedy 101 third season, and food 101 in sixth season as well, geography 101 love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 our fifth season, science 101, sex 101 fourth season, trivia 101, law 101, mental health 101, motivation 101, entrepreneurship 101, and of course my Bible verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Ms. Marlene, if this book succeeds perfectly, what is the one sentence readers will say to themselves 1 year from now that they wouldn't have said before?
Wow, that's a big question. Hmm.
Yes.
It's a very big question. I'm happy I read this book. No,
Yes,
I'm
definitely.
I'm kidding. What would it be? It would be I have a purpose in what I do and where I'm going.
And your legacy to the world. Thank you, Miss Marlene, for sharing your legacy to the world, your business, your book, and hoping for more and more empowering advocacy like this to rise. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your books, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Well, right now, what I am looking for are Gleam guides. That is people who want to share their Gleam experience with others.
Yes.
So you can DM me on Instagram at Gleam GLEEM_beauty and come and find out what just DM me that you'd be interested in learning about what being a Gleam guide is.
Mm. Yes, people, let's connect with Miss Marlene Wallach because if you connect with her, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy like this to rise. So, Miss Marlene, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me.
Vodka people, see you soon.